Welcome to the video. My name is Agent 00 Sonic, and in this video we are going to be doing another watercolor painting. This time, we're still sticking with Studio Ghibli, just because I got a request to do this image right here. From Howl's Moving Castle. And again, I have not seen the whole movie in its entirety. I've seen parts of it. I don't know why it's all Studio Ghibli that I've only seen part of it. Anyways, we are going to draw it out, sketch it, ink, erase, and then the watercolor painting. So sit back, relax, let's get started. Okay, so first and foremost, I have to apologize for this camera angle. Not that it was bad or anything, I do use it later on in the video, but I have my top view camera filming the drawing, but I was a photographer for a wedding over the weekend. I guess the footage got lost. I'm sorry. That sucks, but I have to address that these pens I did acquire with the help of an amazing artist is one of my best friends, Jennifer. I will post a link below to check out their Instagram and their art. She's amazing. She recommended I get these for inking, and yeah, inking is my weakness along with, well, a lot of other things. But anyways, I also wanted to thank Boxhead Arts for answering all my questions early on about this. So I wanted to test the width of the pens and see what my outlining would look like. And they are 1.1, 0.3, and lastly 0.5 as well, which they seem pretty good. I don't know what I'm doing, but it looked good anyways. Now that we can see what it looks like, let's go ahead and time-lapse the drawing portion of this video. Alright, and cue the music. So here is the drawing before I ink it completely. And the way I draw is very rough. I have many guidelines, and that is cool if I want that aesthetic, but bad especially when it comes to inking. I realize that later on. Actually, you'll see what I mean. Let's go ahead and cue the time lapse. But first, that was a very solid line to start off with. Ooh. Okay. Well, here we go. I will say that I was alternating between the ink pens throughout the entire process. I mean, I bought them, might as well use them. I started with 0.1 for the face and the body and the eyes and the finer lined portion. And then for the clothing, I used 0.3 and the hair 0.5. There were some areas that I ended up going back over with 0.3 and 0.5 to try to make sure that those areas were not going to get drowned out by the watercolor. Now, I did this absentmindedly because I'm used to acrylic painting, and I needed to make sure I could still see what I was doing, and inevitably made those lines too dark. And if you didn't notice, when I started inking, Sophie and the other character's name is Haru. I actually didn't tell you who these characters were this time. Okay. Well, for now, let's go ahead and get back to this. So, with their clothing, I continued, and it was a bit of a challenge at first, but as I got halfway through, I made the error of the wrong guideline for her jaw, and I couldn't undo it. But anyways, doing this inking made me more comfortable with it, and I genuinely can't wait to ink other pieces, especially doing this correctly. And maybe a bit more detail so I can utilize the 0.1 a bit more. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the inking of the body and the berry for the hat with the 0.1. And well, would you look at this? Inked and ready to be erased. Now, when we go to the top-down camera for the painting, yes, folks, I said top-down camera, hold your excitement, you'll be able to see the errors of the inking ways, but hey, it is all a learning process, and this is not a bad piece. Not my best, but it isn't about the drawing, it is about the painting, so let's get to erasing. Yes, that is very nice, very nice. Oh, one thing I did notice about the paper, though, as I erased, is that it started to sort of, not necessarily tear, but the fibers were beginning to show and fray. So I know for future reference, with this paper and brand in particular, I cannot do the lines too hard or dark, or otherwise I'll start running into trouble. Hopefully this doesn't cause too much of a headache when we start painting. And here we are, inked and now ready for painting. if we zoom in now, you can see that the ink in a Sophie, I followed the wrong guideline, and you can see that the double line as well, it's the shape of her face, in my opinion, is too masculine or just very dominant. I think when I was doing this, I was trying to make my own style, but I kept too much of the original to her and ended up with this sort of Frankenstein creation of the two. I also did a terrible job referencing the drawing to respectfully. The proportions are off. Some areas got ruined, but oh well. Paint time! Painting. Okay. At this point, I was very hesitant. I had sketched, drawn, inked, erased, and lastly, what I've been most anxious for and, well, hopeful, was painting. I would have to do this correctly, but smoothly, because if I messed up now, well, I mean, watercolor is sort of really forgiving, actually. If you see when I started with the cape, I needed to make it darker, so I just added more blue. And if I needed to make it lighter, I just added more water and white paint. The blending was actually really nice. I feel almost relaxed. I don't know if it's the fatigue or if I truly felt at ease with this. Now that I started doing this, I was really excited to continue. I did notice, however, the water on the paper was doing okay, but the areas I had to go back over and were a little bit wetter. The paper isn't faring well, and the paper is 140-pound weight. This could very well be because I have too much water on it, since I don't exactly know the process or the method of painting, or that the paper may not actually be up to par. Either way, now we start working on the pink part of the cape, and it was following in suit with the blue. If I needed it to be darker, I just added less water, and boom. If I needed it to be lighter, more water and white paint to add transparency. Okay, so what I realized to help me with consistency is to do each part of the painting so that it would be the same color or the same tree of color. So I started with the yellow, and anything that was yellow or a hue of yellow I did. So I did the collar of the cape, and then the hair, and the hair had shadows, so it was darker, but I had to make sure it was going to be blended well enough to be subtle but not as dramatic. The top view camera, the crowd goes mild. But no, I finally had footage from this angle, so side camera, you rest easy. Top view camera, you can take it away from here for a bit. Anyways, I had this very small bristled brush that I could get the eyes and the eyebrows, so I did. I will say this is by far the most satisfying part, getting the smaller details to paint, such as the earring and those little things. But now we're going ahead and move on to the most fearsome part, the skin tones. I knew I was delaying this because I knew it was going to be the most challenging part. If I messed up, it was going to be extremely obvious. There were shadows I had to achieve, but as well as the proper amount of washing and testing on my spare paper, that I had managed to get that tone as close as possible to the reference without it look like a character from The Simpsons. I was late to my surprise. It turned out surprisingly very well. Once I got the right tone, just like I did before, I kept working on those parts of the painting, and it held up even getting the shadows right. I am pleasantly surprised, and I know I keep saying this, but it is turning out truly much better than I thought it would. Now let's go ahead and make our way to the clothing, and then we're just going to speed things up a little bit. And with this, we are going to now be at the finish line. So with Sophie's hair, it was brown and with the highlights on the side, and at this point I'm comfortable with making it lighter, so boom. I just went ahead and did anything else that was brown or darker, such as the eyebrows, and well, mostly it was just Sophie. But now let's go ahead and work on the hat. Alright, and then we need to start working on the last part, the sky. We added some blue, add another blue, add some wash, and well, ta-da, it's done. Now, after finishing it, the paper did okay, especially from this angle. You can see how much it warped and bent to the paper, but it's just, again, I don't exactly know what I'm doing, so now pass me, take it away. Well, there we have it. Here's the finished product of this week's watercolor painting of Howl's Moving Castle. Now, there are a few things I would like to say that I have not already said, but this is what I'm going to say now. Don't look at the drawing. The drawing itself is not my best. Inking got in the way, but obviously that was already discussed early in the video. This one, to be quite honest, was my favorite, if not my best watercolor. Like, looking at it right now, the watercolor portion of this painting is pretty good. for my technically third watercolor painting that I attempted. The gingerbread house, Ponyo. Okay, fourth. Because if you count the whole scenery thing I did, it was good. It was good. But this one, I'm slowly learning I'm just learning. The drawing aside, the drawing itself is not good at all. That's quite terrible. On a personal scale, rating the drawing, half of it is about a 7. The other half, about a 4. But that's all for me. Let me know if you want to see anything else drawing, painting wise, but I am going to continue doing this. My name has been Agent 00 Sonic. I can do that because I found my necklace. And peace, love, and hot sauce. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in next week's video. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to the video. My name is Agent 00 Sonic.